know what mantra means and what the story is with it? Why we're doing this activity? I like to have real interactive talks. So.
To liberate the mind. Man is mind. And man
Yes, man does mean mind.
From stress, from material, from anxiety, to upgrade, to uplift.
Very
to
nice.
God consciousness.
Thank you. What's your name?
Indranila.
Indranila. Okay, but man does, it means, in Sanskrit it means mind. But if it was just going to be for the mind, then we could just do like the Mozart effect, right? We could all just listen to Mozart. Megan could play some Mozart for us. And that would be good for our mind, right? You guys know about the Mozart effect? You know, like you played Mozart for your babies and it's good for their mind when they're young. Yeah. So we could just be doing that. We could call this the Mozart house, right? But mantra, the tra on the end, means to cross over. Mantra. So it means for the mind to cross over. And then the question would be, from where to where? Yeah? Where's the mind going to cross over to? Anybody got any ideas? It's the same word, by the way, as we get avatar. You know the word avatar? Everybody seen the movie? Avatar? Pretty good movie. Ava means down and tar means to cross. It's from the same root, which is trip. But it's just, in mantra, the A goes at the end, and in avatar, the A goes in between the T and the R. Yeah? Avatar and mantra. But it's from the same root, which means to cross. So mantra means to deliver the mind, yeah? But what are we delivering it from and what are we delivering it to? Yes?
From material world to a spiritual world.
Okay, but we live here in reality, so I agree, from material things, but what's it mean when you're talking about yourself and you're talking about the spiritual world?
From material to spiritual.
To spiritual, yeah, to being a spiritual person, right? Yeah. So, like to the soul, yeah. Deliver the mind from the world of mentaling out to the world of your own actual soul or spirit, right? Unless, of course, you don't think you have one, which is another story, and that's fine. Anybody here think that there are chemicals? Some like lightning struck some chemicals and some swamp gas, and out of billions of random transactions, you became you? No, everybody thinks they're a spirit or a soul? Right, so mantra, chanting this mantra is for delivering our mind from our kind of mentalness to actually who we are as a person, as a spirit or a soul, right? So, and it's in the Sanskrit language. These are the three most important words in Sanskrit. Does anybody know what Sanskrit itself means? Sanskrit, so like if I was going to say, what does the word English mean in English? It doesn't mean anything except that some English people speak it, right? It means what they speak when they're English. That's it. Actually, English means what the Engels speak. And the Engels aren't even British. They're not even English. They're Germans. They're from northern Germany. That's where English comes from. So actually, English is really just a dialect of German, you know. But Sanskrit's very, very different. Only language in the world, really, where the word for it isn't just about who some people are speaking it. It's not just like their name. But Sanskrit, the word Sanskrit itself has a very precise meaning within the language. Which is I'm not going to kill you with too much linguistics, don't worry. But just indulge myself for a moment. So Sanskrit, it means, anybody know what it means? Samskrita in Sanskrit. The M just becomes an N, and that's why we get Sanskrit when we speak about it regularly. But it means that which is highly refined, or perfected, or comprehensive, or conclusive, that which is highly refined. So, and if we're chanting these three most important words in Sanskrit, a very ancient, extraordinary language, and it's the great mantra, it's a great four, yeah, then what is it that chanting this mantra is refining? Let me put it another way. In English, since we've already determined that mantra means we're trying to deliver the mind to the actual you as a spirit, as a soul, yeah? So how do we talk about our soul in English, though? Since none of us are born speaking Sanskrit, we'll just do English. How do we speak about the soul? How do you speak about your soul? When you're talking about yourself, your soul, how do you speak about it?
In terms of energy?
Energy? Okay. But like, but it's kind of like, and energy is a bit nebulous. What are you talking about when you want somebody, you're really having a spiritual conversation with them, that you want them to get you as a soul? You're speaking from where?
From the heart.
From your heart. That's how we speak about the soul in English, isn't it? We speak about it from the heart. So, I'll just prove to you. So, therefore, what does Sanskrit, that which is highly refined, when we chant this mantra, these 3 Sanskrit words, what are we refining? We're refining our heart. Okay? Very nice. Very important. So, because Mozart's not going to do that for us. Might make us a little smarter, yeah, but not going to refine who you are in your heart. So, I'll just prove this to you that that's what we're doing. So, by talking about the ancient Sanskrit texts. So, the ancient Sanskrit texts, they teach that. So these are names. Hare Krishna and Rama, they're all 3 names. Actually, this is a sentence in Sanskrit, and grammatically, sorry, I'm going to indulge myself a little bit more with a little tiny bit more linguistics. In Sanskrit, it's actually the vocative, which means it's a call. Like if I say, what's your name?
Shanti.
Shanti. If I say, hey Shanti, right? I'm calling out to you and saying, hey Shanti. And then when I say, hey Shanti, so she smiles a little bit, her eyes get a little bigger, right? So if I say, hey Tom, see, he looks up, says, hey, yeah, there's an exchange, yeah? So there's an exchange. So the ancient Sanskrit texts say that they teach that the love supreme, the divine, even the supreme experience, the supreme divine experience is non-different from his or her or it or whatever genders were. There are a lot of genders these days, aren't there? Anyway, name, yeah, names. And that there's an infinite number of names for the divine. In Sanskrit, they're quite special. Sanskrit's a very special language. Like even the word Sanskrit itself means that which is highly refined. It actually has a meaning in the language itself, not just a description. So that when you chant the Maha Mantra, you're not merely describing something. It's not a designation even. When you chant the Maha Mantra, you're actually directly in contact with the supreme truth. Yeah? You're directly in contact with the truth, with the supreme experience. And so the word for contact, for connection in Sanskrit is yoga. That's the word. That's what yoga means. Yoga means to connect, to contact. So when you chant, when you sing, when you remember, meditate on this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, then you're directly connecting with the infinitely beautiful source of all pleasure, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So that's a refinement for the heart. Yeah? And it's not like somebody just made this up last week, This mantra comes out of time immemorial. Yeah? It doesn't have a beginning or an end. It's not from a place where things have a beginning or an end. Our problem with our mind is that everything our mind wants to concentrate on in this world has a beginning and an end. And that's where our problems start. That's why we have anxiety, right? Because we're focused on things that have a beginning and an end. So the wonderful thing that the ancient Sanskrit texts teach about, especially the Maha Mantra, is that it's coming from a place that doesn't have a beginning and an end. Non-different from the love supreme directly. So you're making that direct contact. And what that does is by this repeated contact, everybody heard the phrase, repetition is the mother of skill? Any like Tony Robbins fans here? Anybody done the Tony Robbins courses? Walked on fire like Tony Robbins? Anyway, a friend of mine's done that like 1,000 times, walked on fire with Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins taught him how to do it, and he teaches other people how to do it. Anyway, they walk across hot coals. Anyway, that's one of his sayings, repetition is the mother of skill. So by this repeated contact, which is repeating this mantra, then we revive and enjoy our eternal divine nature. That's pretty good, huh? For $5. What is it? Dinner tonight? It's $5? Unless you come late, I think it's $7. That's still a pretty good deal. $7 to revive and enjoy your eternal divine nature. So, I just want to then ask you, so I had a very humble title for this talk, but Hari Bhakta came up with, was it Bionic Eyes of a Yogi for developing your supreme vision. So what does it mean to, you're all yogis, we're chanting tonight, that's what yogis do. Yeah? Connecting to the love supreme, what's beyond even just the mind, to help the mind cross over to actually who you really are as a soul. You're all yogis. So as yogis, what's it mean to use this mantra and develop supreme vision? To you, what would that mean? Like, what supreme vision means being like a spiritual person, right? You could say. So what does that mean to you guys? Remember, it's a real interactive talk. So,
Can I interrupt you for a second?
yes, please.
Okay, so-
Have supreme vision. I mean, I know this is like LA. I've just come from little New Zealand. It's land here of the Avengers and all these Superman, superhero movies, the Guardians of the Galaxy and all these things, right? You guys seen those? I'm the only one who's seen those. Only in New Zealand. Anyway, so what's it mean to have supreme vision?
To rise above your own perception, to see more of the truth.
That's nice. See the truth. Thank you. You have something more to say? Go ahead. No? Okay. What's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yes?
To see the transcendental nature and position of the soul.
Wow. Okay. That's transcendental.
Maybe to distinguish between that which is temporary and that which is eternal.
Okay, very nice. That's a little more precise. But what about for you as a person? Because we're talking about that the mantra is supposed to deliver your mind to your soul. Yeah? So you as a person, what would it mean for you as a person? How even would you see yourself and your behavior if you had supreme vision? Yes?
I think with supreme vision, I would see myself as a part of this bigger picture beyond my attachments and my ego-driven self, but how, as a collective consciousness,
Very nice.
we all really one and the same, but what is our own unique little purpose here?
I like to call it being real. Thank you very much. What's your name?
Melinda.
Melinda. Thank you, Melinda. So that was the original title of my talk tonight, was being a real person. But I guess I wasn't. That was a little too humble, I guess. I'm not actually really a humble person, but I like to think I can play one on TV or the movies if I have to. So I like to think of that as what you described, actually all of you, as being real. Yeah. Actually, I did this class once, and Megan, my daughter, she's 14. She was there, and I said, like get real, man. And my daughter pipes up and goes, "Nobody says that anymore." Nice. So, but if you're actually going to be spiritual, that should mean with other people, right? and even in how you see yourself. You should feel like you're being a real person, yeah? Because otherwise, what reality is there to spirituality? Yeah? Should be the most real thing. So what does it mean to you guys to be a real person? Just to try and make this more practical. So it's not just, I mean, I'm all for transcendental too. But we, you know, that's actually a Greek word, transcendental. So we're all speaking English. So what about in English? What's it mean to be a real person?
To be honest.
To be honest? Okay. Thank you. I'm going to write some of these down, actually. It's like quiz night, too. Maybe there'll be prizes later. Honest? Okay.
To be authentic.
Authentic. That's one of my favorites. Authentic. Okay.
To love everyone, no matter what.
What does that mean to you?
Like, I don't know, just like someone on the street, I don't know them, but I show them love in my way. That's me being real, giving them something that they might not have, like food.
Does it mean not judging people?
Yeah,
or
not judging people.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or
like
treating
that.
them equally?
Yeah, treat them equally.
All right.
Mhm.
Not judging, treating equally. Anybody else?
To have integrity.
Integrity. Okay.
To be more present or more conscientious.
I noticed when you said, sorry, yes. Present. Very
Yeah.
good. Yeah, and conscientious. Okay. Conscientious is an interesting word.
Know yourself.
Know yourself. All right.
Maintain your integrity.
It's integrity. Somebody said that twice.
Oh.
And I notice you guys don't. Integrity is about the best we can do today. Yeah, like in business, we have integrity. But integrity, there's a higher thing than integrity, which is honor. But honor means society. Honor means honor in society. And we don't have much of that left anymore. Anybody even think of honor in society anymore? We can't even think about it. You know, it doesn't even enter into the question. Anyway, but we still, to some degree, like in business trends, like you can't really get very far in business or even in the art world unless you have integrity, right? But that makes integrity a little more self-centered. In other words, without integrity, you aren't going to go very far. But honor is much more about how you feel about what's going to happen for society rather than for yourself. Would you agree? Yeah, anyway, that's a little distinction there. Okay, so if people are going to experience you this way, as being honest, authentic, not judging, you see other people equally, you have integrity, you're present, conscientious, and you're self-aware, you know yourself, then if people are going to experience you that way, how would you have to be being with them? Take it to like beingness. Let me put it another way, which kind of gets back to vision. What's the psychological way that you would have to approach other people for them to experience you in all these ways that you're being real with them?
Being upfront.
Sorry, go ahead.
Being upfront.
Being upfront, okay.
With understanding.
With understanding?
With them,
Yeah, I mean like empathy.
Compassion.
Compassion, that's nice.
Humility.
Humility. Hare Krishna.
With an open mind and heart.
With an open mind and heart. Okay. So, but what about how you see, if you're going to psychologically approach someone else, then that implies that you see them in a particular way also. In other words, in order for you to be all these things that are on our list, to exhibit honesty, authenticity, impartiality, etc., and also to be upfront and compassionate and have humility with other people, how is it that you will see them?
With respect.
Okay,
Hopefully they are.
but what do you think that specifically means in terms of like vision? We'll head towards this supreme vision thing that Ari Bhakta set me up for. Yes?
I think,
Go ahead. In the back?
I was gonna say, I think that means that you
Oh,
have
sorry.
you kind of have the pretense that they owe you all those things when you see them.
Oh. Okay, that's getting to the heart of the matter. So, yes, please.
We see all of the people equal no matter of materialistic things. For example, how much money they have, are they beautiful or ugly, are they healthy or not healthy. We see everybody the same, without any materialistic things. For
Okay.
example, no judgment that he is ugly or not, beautiful, he has money or not, he is very knowledgeable or not. We treat all of the people the same.
Okay. Yes?
Kind of an opposite perspective. I feel like we approach people based on our own construct of what we want to see in them, based on our expectations, beliefs, interpretations. And then in doing so, by taking the action of approaching them, it could also be in the sense of I approach them based on how I want this to go, or if I want something from them. Do I want a conversation from them? Do I want to connect with them? Do I want something from them? And given, I mean, that's, I think, very subconscious.
I think
as
that's very
well.
honest. It was Melinda, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So I think she's getting right to the heart of the matter, which is very honest. So, I'm going to give you a very philosophical answer now. This comes from basic philosophy, which has to do with object, subject, and predicate. I'm not going to go into the philosophy side of it, though. We'll just talk practical English based on what you said. Because really, at the Mantra House, you guys know about TED Talks, right? You all could have sat home and had takeout and went to a TED Talk. So I don't want to just give you something that you could get. There's a lot of nice psychologists and neurophysiologists and all these people on neurolinguistic programmers and all this stuff on TED Talks. But you came to the Mantra House, so we should go a little deeper than that and provide something better. Yeah. The food's certainly going to be better than takeout. Anyway, so how we see other people, if it's going to be spiritually or materially, comes down to whether we see them as an object in our life or as the subject of their own life. Yeah? That's actually very formally philosophical, but it's also very practical and relates to why there's a need for a great mantra and to contact something that can refine our heart. Yeah? Chanting the Maha Mantra refines our heart. So, because we want to be able to see other people as the subject of their own life rather than an object in our life. And the truth is that we're all struggling with this. Yeah, I don't think I'm the only one. Am I the only one struggling with this? Yeah.
No.
So, we're all conditioned. We have the minds and the bodies that we've come in with, right? And anybody here not take a shower this morning? Yeah, one? Okay, everybody can scoot away a little bit from it. But you took one yesterday, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, so. Anyway, because if you don't have the choice to stop taking showers, right? Pretty soon you'll be super disgusting, yeah? Because we're struggling, we're conditioned. It's not like, oh, well, you know what? I'm just tired of this toilet thing. I'm just not going to go anymore. It's not like that. Yeah, and we're all struggling. So that's why having something that comes from time immemorial is that's connecting to the love supreme, to a superior force, very, very important. So now, if we're going to work on our ability to see other people as the subject of their own life, and we already know that treating things as objects in our life, we're pretty good at in the modern world, right? Modern so-called civilization. So if I ask you, so therefore, we have science for dealing with things that are objects in our lives, right? Like our car, and somebody said energy earlier, the energy that keeps the lights on, everything else, right? We're pretty good at all that, scientifically, right? But it's also just as true that when we talk about unless we think we're all just chemicals, some lightning hit some swamp gas, and out of billions of random transactions, here I am speaking, and we're all singing this mantra together, it's all just random, right? Unless you believe that, then we already concluded that who we actually are as persons, as the subject of our own life, is the soul, yeah? And that means what? It means consciousness, right? So we're working on refining our consciousness, because our consciousness is not the body that we have, all these other things that were mentioned before, that we don't see people in terms of whether they have money or not, or they have, a beautiful face or not. You all have very beautiful smiles. I saw them while we were chanting, which I appreciate. But, and that subjectiveness implies, and if it has to do with consciousness, first of all, can anybody point to consciousness? Can you point to my consciousness? Where is it? Can you find it in a microscope? If I turn myself over for study at the university, can they pinpoint the consciousness in me in their MRI machines, nuclear magnetic resonance? No consciousness that shows up on their little screens, is there? Right? So that's because consciousness implies the whole person. And so things that it used to be that when we talked about, even in English, things that implied a whole person rather than bits and pieces, right? The problem with regular science today is that it tends to be objectivist, which means it wants to categorize everything in terms of material objects, and positivist, which means that if it can't be measured with an instrument, then it doesn't exist, right? That's logical positivism. And reductionist, which means the desire to break things down, the theory that the way to really understand things is to study their minutest parts, right? Those three things, they're becoming more and more obsolete, even in science, actually, with the advent of quantum physics and everything else. But this kind of obsolete dogmas of science. But when we talk about things that have to do with persons, with us are like spiritual life, how to see others with supreme vision as the subject of their own life. Then we're talking about consciousness, and we're talking about things that used to be, there were words for things that dealt with what was whole, rather than just objective little bits and pieces of things. So you're talking about you as a whole person. The words for that were like honor and duty, right? These were the words that used to go with those sort of things. It's kind of gone out of the conversation these days. So we'll try and revive that a little bit tonight. Duty just doesn't even enter into the picture anymore, does it? We only have one duty today, and that's what? To live my dream. That's your duty today, isn't it? Even societally. Everybody's going to get on Oprah, right? You got to overcome your challenges to live your dream. And if you don't have a dream, you're supposed to get one. That's the whole purpose of everything, the education system. There's a lot of kind of fancy talk these days for letting kids, kind of express themselves more and find the things they like to do, etc. But it really is all oriented towards this goal of, it's all about me and my dream. Yeah. The problem with that is that if the only goal individually in society is that everybody's trying to live their dream, then what is everybody else to you in your life? They have to fit in somewhere into your dream. Right? We have such a high divorce rate. Anybody ever been better dealed here? Right? You know what that is?
No.
I'm the only one who's ever experienced getting better dealed. Where somebody comes and they say, look, it's not you, it's me. It's not you, it's me. Anyway. Even if in a job or relationship, it's not you, it's me. No, it's always you. What it is you're not compatible with their dream anymore. Yeah? They got to move on. They found somebody better or something better, right? So if it's all just this interweaving of it's all about me and my dream, and it's exciting, it's passionate, it's mad so-called love, whatever, for a while, or we're partners partners. We're going to change the world for a while. As long as you're compatible with me and my dream, and somehow your dream is compatible with my dream, and my dream's compatible with your dream, then we charge for a while, right? And we try not to think about anything else. Put everything into it, so they say, yeah. So, but this is not very conducive to seeing other people as the subject of their life, yeah, because things change for everybody. All our bodies change, right? I mean, just proof that you're the spirit soul and not the body is, where's your 3-year-old body, right? There's a lot of lovely young ladies in the room. My daughter, you know, if I say your 3-year-old body had to stretch into this body, the girls wouldn't be very happy because they wouldn't be very attractive, right? You know, you look in the mirror and your 3-year-old body had to stretch into who you are now. It's not like that. Every 7 years, you have all brand new cells in your body, even the brain cells. How does that account for your memories even, right? Every 7 years. So if there's going to be something else, something higher, something better, than it's just all about me and my dream and I overcome my challenges and I get on Oprah, right? They get on Oprah, they start crying, Oprah, I overcame my challenges. You know, I succeeded at my goals, right? But then where are they? Oprah's got another one like them on the next week. And you never hear from that person again, right? So I used to speak years ago in Aspen, and I organized a conference there. All these people, you had to have been somebody who did something significant in your life to go there. And one of the guys was, you know, like today he would be like a TED Talk guy, and his big client was Bruce Springsteen. We invited him to come and talk. He's an interesting guy, and Bruce Springsteen used to get really exhausted. You guys know who Bruce Springsteen is? I'm really dating myself now. Anybody know Bruce Springsteen? Yeah. And he used to really want to put it out for his fans, so he would do these like 5-6 hour concerts, but he would get totally exhausted. So this guy came and worked with him and taught him to see the colors of the audience, like maybe the auras or something or whatever, and that allowed him to get energy from the audience rather than just to lose it all. And so then he could keep that up. And I think he's still doing concerts now at 65 or whatever he is, which is nice. And this guy taught him that. He paid him a lot of money, and we had him come and talk at our thing. But then I realized a few years later, you know, where is this guy, right? He hasn't, it's not like he's taught the whole planet how to do this and change the world, right? I mean, where is he? These people, they get on Oprah, you know, they do something with the stars, and, you know, that's it. How's it helping everybody? So if something's going to be good for everyone, then there should be a science behind it, isn't it? That the idea of science, it always works. So there should be a science for how to see other people as the subject of their own life and really refine our heart, yeah? So while we're talking about science, my friend Tom can answer this, he's a scientist. I'm not going to beat up on the scientist since my friend is here. What's the heart of the scientific method?
Reason.
Okay, but that's a little airy-fairy. What's the practical method behind the scientific method?
Repeatability.
Repeatability, but in order to have repeatability, you have to have what? You're repeating what? An experiment, but specifically a controlled experiment. Yeah? In other words, you have to, in order for it to be reproducible, you have to be in control of at least a critical mass of the parameters that go into the experiment, right? That's the heart of the scientific method. So, and it is true that the scientists have control over what they're studying, because they're studying the objective world of what? Of material things, of matter, right? And so, by definition, if you're in control, then you have to be what? Superior to what you're controlling, right? We were talking about developing supreme vision, right? So, you have to be superior to what you're controlling in order to have the scientific method, isn't it? By definition. Because you can't control what's superior to you. If I'm a up-and-coming business person, I used to be in venture capital, and I go to Bill Gates, and I say, hey, Bill, You're going to give me, you got like 30, 40 billion. You don't need an extra 1 or 2. You're going to give me 1. Yeah? 1 billion. And, you know, he's there with his bodyguards and whatever. Am I able to control Bill and say, you got to give me the billion? And he says, well, why should I give it to you? And I say, because I'm controlling you. Right? I do like my magic dance or something on him. I say, because I'm controlling you, Bill. And he'll just get on his private jet and fly away, or have his bodyguards beat me up, right? Or whatever, or put me in jail. Because I can't control him. I'm not superior to him, right? So by definition, the scientific method means that you are controlling what you're superior to, which is true, by the way, because the spirit soul, I mean, very small, tiny, compared to the infinite energy, is superior to matter. In Sanskrit, the word for matter is dvitiya, which means the second. That's the word for matter, dvitiya. It actually literally means the second. That's how they, when somebody said, I want to write an experiment, you know, in ancient Sanskrit, they would use the word for the number 2. That's how they would talk about matter. It just means matter's real, but it's not the superior thing. It's not the most, it's not the highest priority, right? So it is true that scientists, and I'm not against science, I love science. Whenever I go to the dentist, I'm very happy that there are scientists, right? When I want to fly across the ocean instead of sail on a sailboat, then I'm very happy that there are scientists, right? But I don't confuse that the scientists can help me to see other persons, like my daughter, as the subject of her own life rather than an object in my life, right? So there should be also a science for how we do that, how we have superior vision. If it's going to be available and good for everyone and people just don't overcome their challenges, get on Oprah and then disappear from the scene, but we can actually have a societal-wide science, just like we have societal-wide energy and solar panels and electric cars, like Elon Musk. I'm an Elon Musk fan, right? But, you know, but Elon Musk's not going to do anything for refining my heart, yeah? I mean, like he wants to take me to Mars. Now he wants to go to Mars, Elon Musk, right? What's he going to do on Mars, right? You have a, you know, okay, we'll trash this planet, we'll all go to Mars, right? But you know what? We get to Mars, I've already decided, like we talked about earlier, I'm not gonna do this toilet thing, right? Because I just don't want to be conditioned by that anymore. So if we're gonna get off this planet, you know, no toilets on Mars, right? No, it's not gonna be like that. What are you gonna do when you get to Mars? You can be doing the same stuff you're doing now. You got to get up and take a shower, have to use the toilet, right? So there should be another science for what actually gives us hope and inspires us for dealing with our own heart, yeah? And the hearts of everyone else. It has to be universally applicable. So there is something for that. Anybody got any ideas about if the method of searching after knowledge, of dvitiya, of what's second, of matter, material things, which science is wonderful at these days. We're not like we're in the dark ages anymore, which is great. I'm really glad we're not in the dark ages. So if the method of search for that is to control what's inferior to you, but what can refine your heart is connected to the love supreme, to what's superior to you. When you say by definition, yeah. If you're not already, you know, the most fully actualized saintly person in the room who sees everybody as the subject of their own life, that means that you're very small and you have work to do, isn't it? And so you need something more than yourself. Otherwise, you'd already have everything figured out, wouldn't you? Am I the only one who doesn't think they don't have everything figured out? Right? I'm pretty sure I don't have everything figured out after a few beatings over 50 years. Yeah? So, therefore, we need what? Knowledge of? There's Tommy. Nice to see you, Tommy. Tommy drove here from Oceanside. Thanks for coming. So we need knowledge of what? Yes?
Of the self.
Okay, but our self is very small, so But if we exist, then there must exist what? We're going to talk about supreme vision. A supreme self, yeah? Or the supreme self. Yeah? So we need knowledge of the superior. So what's the method of search? So we already know the method of gaining knowledge of what's inferior to us. That's called the controlled experiment. And it is true. The scientists, they're spirit soul. They are superior to matter. As a spirit soul, they're eternal because they're not their body. Body's always changing, right? So the spirit soul is eternal by definition. And matter is, by definition, has a beginning and an end. It's always coming and going, right? Ultimately conserved. But we know, like the universe started and is expanding and one day collapse again. You don't even have to have a spiritual, philosophical outlook to think that way. The scientists think that way too now, right? They kind of have a general consensus. The universe is expanding at the moment. Maybe there's still some debate, right? So, but it all has a beginning and an end. But you don't have a beginning and end. How could you be a person if you have a beginning and an end? You'd be the subject of anything if you have a beginning and an end. How can you be conscious, which you can't find? You can't find consciousness like in your knee somewhere or in your brain somewhere. Every brain cell you have changes every 7 years. Yeah? So you as a person are eternal. So you are superior. The scientists, they're just like us. They are superior to what's inferior to them, and they can control it. That's why they do so well. Splitting atoms, right? That's all super. To get an iPhone is super trick, isn't it? iPhone is like the Star Trek communicator. They're super good at that. So the method of search that they have after knowledge that's inferior to them is to control matter. So what's the method of search for what's superior to us?
To realize we're not in control.
Okay. That's a good start. That's a really, really good start. But if we're going to make it like scientific, there should be a science that anybody can apply. I gave you a hint with Bill Gates. Sorry, go ahead.
You should become one with that's superior to you instead of.
Okay, but how are you going to do that? Yeah, I got it.
I guess gaining an understanding of it and knowing what part you play in it and what part everybody else plays in it.
Right, but that means we're after knowledge. So what's the method of gaining knowledge of what's superior to you?
To inquire.
To inquire how?
From someone who has that superior vision.
Right, but I can inquire from Bill Gates how to make billions of dollars, and is he going to tell me? Why would he tell me? He's in a superior position to me. What would I have to do to get him to tell me?
Well, if he sees you have potential, maybe he'll pass down that knowledge.
Right. And if he sees that I have potential, that would be what to him?
Competition.
Assuming he's a nice guy. No, not competition. He's already got billions.
Asset to him.
You have to please. And it perfectly, serving's pleasing. It perfectly, the goal of the search perfectly matches the object of the search. Yeah? In order to get something from a superior to you, you have to please. Yeah? So they're waving at me that I'm out of time. So what's the science of pleasing the superior? There actually is a science for that. And it's called Bhakti Yoga. We win. Anybody have any burning questions? That's why we chant this mantra, Maha Mantra. It really is great. It's part of the science of Bhakti Yoga, refining the heart. Sanskrit means that which is highly refined. So, and it's universally applicable to everyone. So some people are always going to be ahead of us. Some people are always going to be behind us. Right? We know that some people will always be ahead of us. But it's just as important to understand that you're ahead. You, each of you, are ahead of other people. And the fact that you're here at the Mantra Lounge, not sitting at home having takeout, watching TED Talks, or much worse, then that means that you're ahead of a lot of other people, yeah? And that means something in society because there really is a science for how to deal with others as the subject of their own life, in which you can participate in a way which is beneficial to others. And that's where, so come back to the Mantra Lounge, open your own, get with Hari Bhakta, and read these books. So there's a science called Bhakti Yoga for gaining knowledge of what's superior to you and applying it to refine your heart which will give you supreme vision. Yeah? That's what it means to see the world with supreme vision. You can see what the science is that everyone can participate in and you can participate in, and how you can engage with other people, taking responsibility for how you're further along than other people. Because that's a fact, just like it's a fact that other people are further along than you. And always will be. Those two things will always be the case. So you have a choice. You can come back. You know, you'll dodge me. I won't be here next week. I'll be in Panama, speaking in Panama. So anybody have any burning questions before we move on to the next part of our program on spiritual life? Yes, Melinda.
And if there's a longer answer, feel free to maybe.
We can talk over
after
dinner.
it. Yeah.
Sure.
Because so you brought up the perspective of seeing everyone as a subject of their own life as
Right.
an object. And so what to do when you know that is how, what do I do when I know that is how I view other people, but then it almost backfires because then I see, well then it just feels like life is this giant, almost like rat race, because everyone's chasing after their own dreams and ambitions, and I see that. But then I'm like, but then what's the point? Because everything is just temporary. They're chasing after this thing which will cease to exist. What really, like how to actually connect when everyone is the subject, but then they're all going after their own potential. That I feel like it's actually disconnecting everyone, if that makes sense, what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Like
But
a
I would say
moving
that you haven't met
connection.
everyone. You haven't met everybody on the whole planet. And
No.
there are lots of people who really are fully engaging that way. And you're here with some tonight. So, yeah. So we call that improving your circle of friends. Yeah. Which is worthwhile. That's really necessary. As part of taking responsibility for where you are. It's not that you look down on other people or whatever. It's just that if you're really going to take responsibility for who you are, you should maximize your friendships with people who are like you, and your respect for people who are superior than you. And there are some. There are some people who are further along with you, and they're worth getting to know. Yeah. And the nice thing about Bhakti Yoga, I mean, yoga is spread so far in the world, and Bhakti Yoga is kind of the top of the yoga ladder, and it's also spreading a lot, and you can participate in it and help other people, so you can be part of the solution, is my answer to that. We can talk more about it over dinner. But you're not the only one to have that question. It's a very good question. Thank you. All right, well, I better make that unless anybody's just dying to have a public question now. Okay, we'll move on to the next part of our program. Thank you so much for your kind attention.